Hi friends, it's Miss Delana with Greenhouse Music. Before we begin today's chapter, don't forget to grab your 25 Days of Christmas Journey printout so your kids can follow along with the clues right alongside Holly. There's going to be even more clues and challenges and fun little extra tidbits for you. You can download it at green.myflowdesk.com/Holly's Heart, HOLLYS Heart. This will be in the show notes as well. And remember, this Christmas adventure unfolds one day at a time, so be sure to listen in order to keep up with the magic. All right, let's step into the story. By lunchtime, it had already felt like a very long day. That morning had started quietly, before Levi was awake and before Mama had poured her tea. Holly had sat cross-legged in her bed with Papa's newest letter open in her hands. She had wanted to read it before the day carried her off in too many directions. Lately, she had learned that if she waited too long, she might miss something important. So she read it again, and then again. Then she tipped her detective hat just a little and read it for a third time, slower, as if the words might rearrange themselves if she listened carefully enough.
Hi, Holly girl. Stories show up in many ways. Some are sung, and for a long time, that was the only way that stories were passed on. Some are also written, and some are told again and again until they feel like home. But some stories are not offered so easily. They unfold slowly in small moments. And they ask for patience more than answers. If you are paying attention today, you might notice a story without even being told one. You may learn something without asking a question. Remember this: loving someone does not always begin with understanding everything about them. Often, it begins by being willing to take notice. So here's your next challenge. Not all stories speak out loud. Some are lived and gently bowed. Watch the way the quiet stays. Care grows strong in patient ways. All my love, Papa.
Holly folded the letter and rested it on her lap. Stories? Quiet? Listening? She looked around her room, then smiled. Well, the library, of course, she said. It felt almost too easy. Books full of stories. We've been here before. Shelves waiting patiently. A place where listening mattered. Papa must be leading her there again. And for once, the challenge felt very clear. By mid-morning, she had told Mama her conclusion with confidence. They would go to the library after lunch, and Holly would find the story Papa meant for her to notice. She would complete the challenge, and everything would fall neatly into place. So when lunchtime arrived, Holly felt ready. She wiped her hands on a napkin, slid off her chair, and went to grab her boots. Mama was gathering coats near the door, and Levi was explaining something very important to a potato chip, which he later dropped on the floor and mourned deeply. But the plan was set, and that was when the phone rang. Holly did not hear the voice on the other end, only Mama's side of the conversation, and it did not feel like things were going to go her way. Yes, Mama said, and then she paused. Oh, of course. And then another pause. And what time? Mama glanced at the clock after that question, and her face was thoughtful, but calm. All right, she said. We can do that. She said goodbye and put the phone back, and Holly looked up. Mama? Questioning, knowing that something was about to happen. And Mama took a breath. Well, Grandpa needs to go to the doctor this afternoon. Just to check in, everything's okay, but the person that was going to take him can't make it. Holly's heart dropped. At least 5 stories. But the library, she said carefully. Papa's clue. I think it's where I'm supposed to go to solve it. Mama nodded, understanding the weight behind her words. I know, sweetheart. I'm sorry, but this is important. Holly's disappointment was sharp. But underneath it was something heavier. If they did not go to the library, how would she finish the challenge? How would she do what Papa was leading her to do? Mama knelt to zip Levi's coat and spoke gently, not rushing her to fix the feeling. Do you remember a few days ago, Mama said, when we were all dressed up and ready for the Santa meet and greet? Holly nodded. She had been so excited that day. Well, and then our plans changed? Mama continued, and Holly kind of had a feeling she knew where this was going. It was because someone needed help. And of course Holly remembered. Carrying boxes, staying longer than expected, getting the lights, bringing soup, feeling tired, and then feeling glad that they had stayed. Mama smiled softly. Sometimes helping means we do not get to enjoy the things that we planned, but loving people is still worth it. And that is part of having a servant's heart. Holly swallowed and nodded. She tried so hard to push down her disappointment, and she pulled on her boots anyways. They were going to be helpers today, and she would try her best to be the best helper she could be. The doctor's office was quiet in a way that felt different from the library. Still quiet, but just weird. Not the gentle hush of turning pages, but the waiting kind. Chairs lined the walls, a clock ticked steadily, slightly annoying, and people sat with their hands folded, holding papers and thoughts in equal measure. Mama checked Grandpap in and helped him settle. So Holly and Levi took seats nearby, and that was when Levi's toy slipped from his hands, and it rolled across the floor and stopped at a pair of familiar shoes. Mr. Connor's. Those were his shoes. And he sat there, stiff-backed, but also alone. He did not stand. Instead, he leaned forward slowly, carefully, and reached down, and a small grunt of pain escaped him before he could stop it. He picked up the toy and handed it back to Levi without comment. Levi accepted it seriously, as if there were an important exchange that just happened. "Thank you," Holly said quietly, maybe a little surprised, and Mr. Connors nodded once. Holly watched him now. I mean, it's not like there was much else to do in the doctor's office while they were waiting. She noticed things that she had not noticed before. The way he shifted his weight, the way his jaw tightened when he moved. How he kept his hands folded, as if holding himself together took effort. He didn't seem unfriendly. To Holly, he just seemed careful. She watched a nurse soon appear with a clipboard and a cane. "Mr. Connors," she said gently, "the doctor recommended this for now." And Mr. Connors' jaw tightened at the recommendation. "I do not need it," he said. And the nurse hesitated, then set it beside the chair. "Well, I'll put it here, just in case." And then she smiled at him kindly and walked the other way. And he looked away from it. And the room felt awkward, like everyone was pretending not to notice something that was definitely noticeable. But Holly felt Papa's words stir in her mind. Not all stories speak out loud. She watched the cane, and she watched Mr. Connors, and there was some kind of story being told. So she stood up and she stepped a little closer. "Mr. Connors?" she asked, respectful, but a little unsure. "Would you like me to decorate it? The cane, I mean. I have stickers at home, though, and you could pick whatever kind you like." And for a moment, he looked startled. Then he laughed. Holly didn't even think she said something funny, but he was laughing. It may have been brief, but it was still surprising. Almost as surprising as him singing. "Stickers. Well, I suppose it could use some personality." Which makes sense to Holly. I mean, isn't that what stickers are for? Showing your personality? Later, as they prepared to leave, Mama walked beside Holly toward the door, as Grandpap walked on the other side of Levi. "You noticed," Mama said softly. "I noticed?" But then Holly had realized she did notice. She noticed how Mr. Connors felt uncomfortable by the cane that was given to him to help him walk. In fact, it seemed like the very thing that would help him actually made him very angry. One time, a friend of Holly's had broken their arm, so they had to wear a cast for quite a while. But putting stickers on it made that friend feel better. That's why she thought about it for Mr. Connors. Stickers make everything feel better. She thought it would help. And Mr. Connors actually seemed to like the idea. And now Holly understood more. Stories were not only found in libraries or bookshelves. Some were lived quietly, like the story about Silent Night that Grandpap had told her. They're shaped quietly by pain and pride and patience. And loving someone did not always mean you had to solve something. It might mean you just have to listen or use your eyes to see what was already there. Sometimes stories can teach us how to love, even when words are never spoken. Outside, the afternoon light waited, and so did the library. But Holly knew now that the challenge had already been met, especially when Mama handed her another envelope. What a crazy ride today. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Do you remember what song it was that Holly learned the last time that she visited the library? I think it was this one. Up on the housetop, reindeer paws, out jumps good old Santa Claus, down through the chimney with lots of toys, all for the little ones' Christmas joys. Ho, 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 who would it go? Ho, 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 who would it go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. First comes the stocking with little Nell. Oh, dear Santa, fill it well. Give her a dolly that laughs and cries, one that will open and shut her eyes. Ho, 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 who would it go? Ho, 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 who would it go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. Look at the stocking of little Bill. Oh, just see what a glorious fill. Here's a hammer and lots of tacks, a whistle and a ball and a whip that cracks. Ho, 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 who would it go? Ho, 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 who would it go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. Ho, 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 who would it go? Ho, 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 who would it go? Up on the housetop, click, 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 down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. Down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. What are you doing up there? And that's today's chapter of our 25 Days of Christmas adventure. If you haven't grabbed our journey printout yet, you can still get it at green.myflowdesk.com/Holly's Heart, so your kids can track each clue and stay part of the magic. Come back tomorrow for our next piece of the story, and remember, the adventure makes the most sense when you listen in order. So go back and listen to any of the ones that you might have missed. You'll hear from me tomorrow. Bye.